Let me put this short story in a few words and how everything started. I was walking about 8 or 10 years ago. I was walking on the streets of the city of Fort Lauderdale, and I was about to cross the street. I stopped at the traffic light, and all of a sudden, I see a guy pulling slowly in a convertible XJS. I just stood there, I stopped and I stood there, I was watching him. I said, gosh, that car is beautiful. It was a white convertible, I believe. And I was standing there watching him until he just disappeared behind the corner. And in that moment, I fell in love with this car. I said, you know what? I crossed the street and I say to myself, one day, I'm going to own one. And after 10 years, here I am. The day has come. I kept my promise and did not give up on my dream. Let me introduce to you guys. Welcome to the channel. My new 1994 Jaguar XJS coupe. Gosh, this is beautiful. And it took me some time to decide, should I go with a convertible or should I go with a coupe? And I took the decision actually to go with a coupe, since I just love the way these underlines look. I fell in love with this part, which is just hilarious. I mean, you don't see these days anymore these kind of designs and such a high quality, especially from behind when you see it on the road. It looks phenomenal. It has XK8 wheels, R17, which are a little bigger than I think the standard wheels that came with this XJS, and but I just love the way they look. It looks just different. And the interior is so well made. I mean, such a high quality materials. Just awesome. And this sound, it's almost like the sound of a G-Wagon. That real old school quality. Alright, so now it's time to go for a ride, and I'm gonna talk more about this car. I wish I could hit it more, but I'm doing already 40 and it's 35 miles an hour here, the limit. Gosh, it is so smooth. And I wish I could give you the same feelings I have while driving this car. But the smoothness of this engine kind of gives me a feeling, and it reminds me of the feelings when you drink a glass of expensive fine whiskey and you feel it going down smooth and warm. That's what it feels to me driving the Jaguar XJS. It's that smooth. And also it gives me the feeling of like you are at the helm of a luxurious boat. You're just flying in your own speedboat, surrounded by wood, all this leather, and just all pure quality materials. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with this XJS. And every time I hit the road in this car, I get the feeling of this heaviness, of pleasant heaviness, because it's a really heavy car, and because it sits so low to the ground and it's wide, it feels to me like it's like a heavy plow. It gives me that feeling of confidence and just pure quality steel. This particular XJS I bought came with a straight 6 4-liter engine, which is just perfect for me. It works amazingly. And there was an option to buy as well V12, which I'm trying to stay away from because I don't have the proper knowledge and experience, and I don't want to take such a big risk because first of all I didn't know if I could find a proper mechanic, an experienced mechanic to work on those cars. So I've heard some horror stories about those engines and I didn't want to take a big risk, so I said, I'll just go with a straight 6, which is common and it's just bulletproof, like some guys say. I believe that these cars are not just for anyone. And what I mean by that is you have to be a real car enthusiast in order to appreciate the design, to appreciate the craftsmanship and the amount of hours and hard work that was put into making these kind of cars a reality. It's just unbelievable. So I believe these are not just for those people who need a simple car to abuse it every day around, go for shopping and stuff like that. For grocery shopping. You have to feel it. You have to give it the proper love and care if you want to get every time to get the same feeling of excitement when you sit in this car. The car is also equipped with a 4-speed, if I'm not wrong, it's a 4-speed automatic transmission, which feels so smooth. It's just smooth as butter. When I was looking online at this car before buying it, I saw that it came with the XK8 wheels. So I believe the previous owner installed them because these are not meant for XJS, right? They were from XK8, and but I kind of like the way they look. And even before buying it, I saw those pictures. I said, you know what? I love the way these XK8 wheels look on the XJS. It just gives a different kind of feeling and makes it more kind of sporty, or if I could say that. But I just love the way it looks, and that's one of the reasons also I bought it. But before buying this XJS, I actually had a lot of time to decide, because at that time I was driving a semi-truck and I didn't really need a car. So there were about 5 more models on my list to choose from. One of those models was a Porsche 997. It was a convertible, and I just fell in love with that, and I almost bought it actually. But it was a little out of my budget, and I said, let's see something else for now. There was a BMW Z3, which I also really like, and I actually fell in love so much with an Aston Martin DB9, and I found one online which was not too expensive, but it looked kind of it may have some issues. So I didn't want to take the big risk. When you pay less for a car, you should expect some problems to come with it. So I said, you know what? No, I don't want to take such a big risk right now. And there was also the XK8 on my list and the XJS. So I said, you know what? I always dreamed about an XJS and how much I fell in love with this design. And I said, just let me go for it. we live once, right? So in the future I may buy many other models, but I say let me begin with XJS. And after I bought this car, I went to buy it. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna drive this all the way to Florida, which is about 1,200 miles. I bought it from the north. And the guy was like, are you sure you wanna do that? Because it's a really old car. You never know what to expect on the road. You may get in trouble. You know, it's a 30-year-old car, so anything can happen when you go on such a long trip. But I said, you know what, I just wanna test it. I was not afraid because I could feel, I kind of got the feeling of this confidence. I mean, that everything will be okay. That's the feeling this car gives me. So I hit the road, I drive for about 1,200 miles, and to my surprise, no any issues at all. I made it to Florida. After 3 days, no any check engine lights, nothing. I mean, I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. And only after I bought this XJS, I was driving it back to Florida, and I was living there for about a month. I was pretty new in the city of Sarasota. I didn't know anyone around. I didn't know any mechanics that could work on my XJS in case of any issues. But thankfully and luckily, there's a really nice and awesome service shop not too far from my house, which is called Thoroughbred Motors. And I want to give a shout out to these guys. Their entire awesome team, really friendly people, professionals. And you know, you get that nice, that feeling when you visit a place for the first time and the guys are just friendly, they're confident, they know what they're doing. And that's what I like actually, because they work on a lot of Jaguars, a lot of classic cars and Aston Martins and different kind of rare models. And yeah, from the first day when I moved there and I found them, I said, now I know the place where I'll be servicing my Jag. So for as long as I'll be owning this XJS, I'm going to Thoroughbred Motors. You guys rock. And at the end, I'd like to say that I will be forever thankful and blessed to be able to own and drive daily this small piece of automotive history made by Jaguar. I'll be forever thankful to these guys for creating this kind of masterpieces. And I'm really sure that even 50 years from now, many years ahead in the future, there will be people who will appreciate this kind of cars, and even if they will not be able to drive them anymore, I'm sure there will be some of them will still be in private collections and people will still enjoy looking at them.